Good morning. Thank you for being with us here this morning in downtown Carmel. Hidden away in a nondescript courtyard is Susan Manchester's studio. There's nothing like going on a studio visit with an artist. It's a chance to see the inner sanctum of their creative process. There's nothing I love more. And thank you for joining us. Susan's work is in the Montage Health CHOP collection, on view now both at the hospital and in the new breast care center. So join me as we go in. Susan, thank you for having us to your studio. It's such a privilege to be here. This is your private space that you come to every day to work, and you've let all of us join you today. So thank you.
It's my pleasure and honor that you have an interest in my work.
And thank you for framing your most recent work for us to see and look at.
This is probably the largest piece, other than some portrait pieces that were larger than life, that I worked on, and I just really enjoyed doing it.
Tell us what we're looking at.
Looking at the finger feather of the wing of a California condor.
So I know that you sometimes work from photographs. Is this life size? How did you use the photo when you worked on it? There's such exquisite detail in here, but you've chosen what you want to show us and what you want to be more abstract.
It's about 3/4 more the size that it would be. But for me, it has everything that I like to look at, which is extreme detail and a swish of gesture and power and delicacy, all kind of rolled into one thing.
People can see how the tail end of the feather, the quill, actually goes out of this frame that you've made that's pale.
Yes, and you know, the fact that it's a feather, it has power and lightness as well, is one of the reasons why I floated it. I didn't mat it. It should float free. It should cast a shadow.
What significance does the feather have for you?
Oh, it's, you know, I've looked back upon my work and it's always in there somewhere. I think it's because since I was a young child, I wanted to have wings. I was serious about wanting to have wings. And I'm still curious about how they attach to the back of this, you know, all the sort of technical aspects of wings.
So Susan, among the wonderful things tucked away in your studio is this array of beautiful brushes that I'd love to use as a makeup brush if we ever wear makeup again. Can you tell us about these? What do you use these for?
Well, this was a gift, and it's a sumi. You use sumi ink with it for Japanese calligraphy and drawing, and I used it once only because it took up a whole bottle of sumi ink, and then I didn't know quite what to do with it. So there I was standing with this drippy thing, but it was great to.
And this beauty?
And this is a goat hair duster for, it has such a light touch. I can go over a surface and get little schmutzlies off the surface when I'm in the middle of a drawing. And I love that dot. This has come down through the ages, I think, from architecture offices to all sorts of things. And I use it again to sort of dust away the little bits that things get on paper. Or I've used it with paint for washes, and I love the way it's constructed.
Out of all of these tools that you work with, that you've collected over the years, you've worked in different ways, what's your favorite right now? What are you most thrilled about experimenting with?
This is a piece of charcoal I got in Paris, and it's a nice chunky thing that makes the darkest, you can't even imagine, shall I demonstrate? And then, you know, with edges and things, you can, that's sort of how the swooshes work. And then this is also a French, it's compressed cotton, I think, and it softens a dark edge. And then you can actually draw with the residue that's on this, it's called a stomp. And you can do pretty much almost anything with, if you know how to handle these bold bits of art supply. There's no purpose to this. Your mind can just sort of move through these spaces and things happen, and it's magical. And the mapping pen is often used in calligraphy, so it's not generally used in the general world of painting. But gouache is a concentrated watercolor, and it holds very well in this pen, and you can do very fine detail with it, or you can get a very good line. You end up doing a painting with a pen.
All of your work is partially there, in a state of becoming, in a state of disappearing. You use the margins to sometimes say something that almost feels a little philosophical.
Oh, it's so interesting to have your perception of it. It's, this outer space that's around all of my drawings goes back to printmaking. And printmaking, when you're doing a formal run of a plate, you always have a wide boundary. And that wide boundary has some antecedent. It has antecedents in ancient history as sacred space. And then I started going out of my boundaries and liberating the image.
Susan, you have a number of artworks in the Chomp Montage Health collection. Many of them have been in the collection for a long time. Right now, there's a wonderful small-scale exhibition that's up at Chomp, if people get the chance to go see it, featuring your work. And you have about 8 to 10 works that will be in the new breast care center that's opening in March. How do you feel about having your art in the context of a healthcare setting, particularly in a community hospital, which is such a different kind of institution?
Well, it's actually an overwhelming honor to me to be in that venue, in that situation, because I know how much having a painting or a drawing to look at can calm your mind and open your heart. And I've seen it, I've felt it, and it's just gives my whole raison d'etre another sense of purpose.
Susan, thank you so much for inviting us into your studio and giving us this incredible view of the real heart of your art making.
Thank you so much for visiting with me at my place of industry. I am so proud to be part of Montage Health and all the efforts that go together to make a person whole and healthy. Thank you.
And thanks to all of you out there for supporting the Breast Care Center, for supporting the programs at Chomp. I hope that you will be able to see Susan's work on view at the hospital in a new corridor dedicated to artist exhibitions, and at the new Breast Care Center when we can all celebrate the opening of that project in the spring. Thank you so much.